Boy, that CPI report sure didn't disappoint today, did it? Boy, oh boy, what a day, what a day. Hope you guys had a fantastic day out there. I told you we had some big high hopes for Tuesday's trading session, but you know me. Time to get back after it. Time to get ready for tomorrow. It's Tuesday evening. Wednesday is right around the corner. It's, of course, July 13th. 2021. My name is Joseph, and as always, welcome back to your nightly newsletter. And if you're watching for the first time tonight, it is great to have you with me because my job tonight is to help us find the best trade setups for tomorrow. That's Wednesday's trading session. I got a great video in store for you guys tonight. Charts are all prepped in the background, as you can see. Nasdaq's here, S&P's here, gold is here. Glad to see you are right here, right along with me. Boy, oh boy, lots of great trades on my radar for tomorrow. We get some more big news tomorrow morning. Get the PPI report coming tomorrow, same time as the CPI report was today. Got a bunch of ranges on the charts right now. Now, you know me, right? Ranges mean breakouts, mean failures, trading rotation. So I love me some range-bound markets. By the end of this video tonight, you'll know my favorite trades for tomorrow. I got some great buy setup breakouts for pretty much all three of these markets. You'll also know by the end of this video tonight some places to avoid and kind of help yourself keep out of trouble tomorrow, whether you're trading on your own or whether you're trading with us tomorrow morning in our daily trade room. Before we jump into the video tonight, as always, I want to make sure to remind you, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. I publish this video newsletter with my best trade ideas for the following day. I publish this every evening during the week. I don't want you to miss tomorrow night's video, so make sure you subscribe. Hit that little bell icon so you always get notified every time I publish something new. And if you guys have any questions, I always love to answer those questions. Drop those questions in the comment section for me. And while you're down there, hit that like button for me. If you guys enjoy this video as much as I enjoy making it for you every evening, hit that like button. Give me a thumbs up here and make sure you subscribe. Again, always appreciate you guys supporting this YouTube channel. But time is ticking though. Wednesday is it already Wednesday? Third week of the month. Wednesday is right around the corner. Boy, I had a great day today in our trade room this morning. Hope you guys had a fantastic day as well. But we're only as good as our next trading session, so it's time to get back to work. Lots of ranges in front of us right now, right? Get a range on the S&P, get a range on the Nasdaq, and get a big juicy range there on the gold right now. I'll tell you, lots of ranges right now, a lot of great breakouts on my radar for tomorrow. And even though we have a lot of bears in the market right now, bears in the market here on the S&P, bears in the market in the Nasdaq, not so much bears, but you can see a big open loop for the bears there on the gold right now. We have a lot of reasons to respect the sellers for tomorrow, but I'll tell you, I've got some great buy setups, buying the lows of this range on the S&P, really buying really any place the lows on the Nasdaq. And I'll tell you, I was very bullish last night on the gold. I continue to be technically very bullish on the gold as well. So, and of course, you know me. I'm going to make sure we're ready for long side, short side. I don't care what direction this market goes for tomorrow, right? I want to make sure that we are ready whether we go up, down, or sideways. So make sure you stay tuned for the entire video, and we'll cover all the details here tonight. Before we get our hands dirty, though, on these charts, let's make sure we know what our schedule looks like for tomorrow. Tomorrow's a Wednesday. It is going to be an interesting day tomorrow. Tomorrow is the middle of the week, obviously. Wednesdays tend to be those kind of choppy, sloppy trading days. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We've got some big news, that PPI report at 8:30 Eastern time. Boy, I hope that, we can only dream of that PPI report giving us the same big volatility moves that we saw off the CPI report today, right? The PPI report, I should say, right, for tomorrow. So we saw the consumer prices today, right? What the consumers are paying at the counter. And tomorrow we're going to hear from the producer prices, right? Which of course is a leading indicator for inflation. We obviously saw a big inflation number today, 5.4 year over year. Pretty impressive inflation number there. We'll see if that can follow that up for us here tomorrow with the PPI report tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern time. That is definitely the time you want to be at your desk tomorrow. And it's really important tomorrow because we got Jerome Powell at 12 o'clock Eastern time. And then, of course, the Beige Book at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Jerome Powell, this is not a small deal tomorrow. This is his semi-annual testimony. He'll be in front of He'll be on Capitol Hill, in front of the Senate Banking Committee, in front of the Senate Oversight Committee. So this is a big deal, right? The cameras will be on him. He'll be answering questions. So he has a tendency to really muck up these markets when he speaks like this. Again, this is not some keynote speech on some web event, right? This is live in real time, in person on Capitol Hill. So, obviously we'll do our best tomorrow no matter what we get. But if I had to guess tomorrow, I would guess those first couple hours of the day tomorrow are really going to be when you want to be paying attention. So 8:30 until probably 11 o'clock tomorrow is when you're probably going to get the best opportunities. If you do trade the late afternoon, maybe 2:30 to 3:30, around that Beige Book number tomorrow. But my goal tomorrow will be to make the money inside of those first few hours tomorrow, and then literally take lunchtime, let Jerome Powell speak, let the markets kind of get all mucked up off that. And then again, we'll see if we get something tomorrow afternoon, but I wouldn't hold your breath right tomorrow afternoon. I would definitely try to find the best opportunities with us tomorrow morning in our trade room, right in that first half of the trading day. Now, tomorrow morning, every morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, we're going to have a front row seat for that right in our trade room. I would love to have you there trading right along with us. We're going to get there early tomorrow, prep the charts early, and hopefully find some good early setups. I'll put all of the membership links you guys need to get registered. I'll put them right below this video tonight on the blog or in the links here in the description of the YouTube video. So again, don't be late tomorrow to the trade room. 8:30 is the big news. We do want to try to squeeze as much as we can out of that morning session because again, with Jerome Powell speaking at noon, it's anybody's guess for the afternoon. We get some more big news though Thursday and Friday, so we're just getting this week warmed up here. So make sure you stick around with us the rest of this week here, and we'll keep you on the right side of this market. Let's grab some charts here right now. News is pretty straightforward for tomorrow. S&P is ready, Nasdaq's ready, gold is ready. Let's grab the S&P first. And don't forget, I've got chapters at the bottom of this YouTube video, right? There's chapters down at the bottom there. So, I want you to watch the whole video here because I think there's opportunities to learn and earn across all of these markets. But if you're coming back here and you got one favorite market, don't be afraid to jump around using those chapters that you can see at the bottom of this video. Anyways, what do we know about the S&P right now? We got to go back to yesterday, right? We had that range on the chart, and pretty much the market has been rotating back and forth right around that range. The range right in the middle acts like a magnet. There is definitely an overall bullishness to this trading range, right? So we know that buyers are buying below the range. The one thing we know right now, though, is you can see there's a lot of bears, right? A lot of bears coming off of that high. So we definitely know there's a range above us. That range certainly will act like a magnet until we can probably break and hold below this area, right? Until we can really break and hold, right? Not just run lower and come back up, right? Until we can break and actually hold below these areas down here, I'd say 52 3/4 is a pretty good number. I would imagine a lot of buyers are looking at this area as a place to buy here, going back up right into that trading range. The range is the magnet. The range is the kind of the balance area, and then really another kind of component on this is this spike in channel. Again, it is a very bear market right now. There's no doubt about that. Strong move going lower, and we're kind of grinding lower. Maybe it's a wedge, right? Maybe it's a wedge down there. It's tough to tell exactly. It looks like a spike in channel here right now. This is important because at the base of that channel, right where that channel runs into that spike, that's where sellers are going to be trying to come in and sell here, right? If I'm a seller, that's where I get the best entries on the short side. Now, I can't really see a very easy way to get short on this, right? When you go back, back into that range here. Like I said, there's a lot of great buy setups right now going back up into that trading range. Not going to be the easiest place to sell, but I got some short setups I'm watching for if we do get that pullback. So those are probably the two main components here on this chart, right? I've got the range. I know we're trying to rotate back and forth, right? The range is the magnet. I've got the amount above the range marked up below the range. That creates levels of support that we need to buy going back up into the range. And of course, that spike in channel tells us be aware that sellers are going to be trying, right, to short into that pop. So how do I buy it? How do I sell it? And what are some traps that we have to avoid here? I'll tell you, it's not going to be easy to get short on this market right now. This is not going to be easy to get short here. If I pull back, for example, right? If I pull back right now, I'm looking for the long side. My favorite trade going higher here would definitely be the long side. There are two types of trades I would love to see on this. One would be as we go higher here, a strong move up, a shallow pullback, a higher high in price, and a trap below that low. Now, I'm simply drawing this. I'm simply drawing it right here. It could be a bit higher. It really could. But the idea here is strong move up, shallow pullback, right? Shallow pullback, higher high confirms the move, right? And we get that trap. Targets, of course, now are back up, right, to retest that high. Again, this would be what we call a two-try trap setup. We could also see the market pop up. The buyers hold the moving average now, and they jump. Right? This is not the same type of pattern, right? It's not the shallow pullback and the higher high. It's the 1, 2, 3 reversal. Now, what happens when we see a 1, 2, 3 reversal? We mark up that high, we mark up that low, we then drill down to a faster time frame, and we find a price action entry off the low of that channel. This is a 5,000 tick chart. Right? This is not a day trading time frame. What I'll do is I'll drill down to a faster time frame, and my favorite price action entries off the low of these channels are usually going to be traps, failures, and then failures oftentimes turn into pullbacks. So I'm trying to buy off that low. I'll drill down to a faster time frame. Remember, we don't want to use indicators for the entry signals, right? So MACD crosses, momentum divergence signals, order flow. Don't waste your time on those. What I do is I cover all of the price action setups. I cover pretty much everything, how to find support and resistance, how to find the entries, trigger the entries, trade management. I cover all those smaller details in our quick start trading course. I wanted to give you guys a kind of a free class to bring you up to speed to how we trade in our trade room. So first of all, you're ready for trading with us when you join as a member, or really so you can make the most of our time together every evening on this video newsletter. So definitely grab that little quick start class that pops up there, and that will give you the breakdown, the rundown of exactly how we love to trade every day in our trade room, and you'll see more of the price action entry setups that I'm talking about right in this video. Now, how do we sell this market? How do we sell this market as we're going higher here? We can sell it knowing that we have this thing, right, that level of resistance. But what's the problem going to be? The problem is the range magnet. So what I want to see is as we go higher here, I'm going to want to see buyers try once, buyers try twice, and either a trap off that high, which would be probably the best possible entry, right? Imagine now we break out, we pull up, we go into that sell zone I talked about. But again, remember, there's going to be a lot of bulls on that to be trying to run this thing higher. Let them try a couple times. Those buyers try a few times. I would love to see the trap. The trap is always my favorite, but we don't actually need the trap. What we oftentimes get here is we'll oftentimes get like a one, pull back, right? Grab a trend line off that high. Now think about it. Once those buyers try a couple times to buy the pullback, their stops are just sitting there waiting to act as gasoline, right, to run this thing lower here. I can sell that trend line. Right? Again, trend line's great. Trap's always the best. or I can simply drop the order in right below that low and just let gravity take over and run this thing right back down to that low here, right? We call these 2-try failure patterns. And the reason why I don't want to be very aggressive on that is because of the range above us and the tendency for the market to come off that pendulum swing and rip right back higher here. So if the market moves higher here, again, I do like the buy side here. I'm more than willing to take the sell side, but again, the buy side looks like it's the easier trade right now, and what a potential risk reward ratio on it if we can grab that rip going higher here. As we go lower, how do we sell it? How do we buy it as we go lower here? That's a really good question because I have all of this support down here. Now, 52 3/4. 52 3/4 is really a magic number in my eyes. We talked about this last night. This is that big prior high there. We really haven't gone up and come back and tapped it yet. They almost did. They almost did earlier today. I was almost hoping they would go all the way to that 52 3/4, but they didn't. So that area is a really big area of support, and this is very similar on the Nasdaq and the gold because again, we have a lot of support down here. And with that range right above us, right, all of that overlapping candlesticks, you know what I mean? If you were to put a volume profile on this right now, you'd probably see all of that volume right there, right? You'd see all that volume right there, right? That's the magnet. That's the magnet. So if we make a run lower here, unless the bears can really show this thing off, what's a good chance we end up back into that range? So how do we trade this stuff? Well, again, the long side I think is maybe not the easier side, but probably the better side here. Here's why. As we go lower, take out those lows. Now, this could be right here. It could be right here. It could be, it really could be anywhere in this area here. We take out those lows. Now, here's the problem, right? Here's the problem. Momentum is very bearish, right? Let's not kid around. Very bear market. So what do? You respect those bears. You wait for them to come in. Wait for them to try a couple times. Try once. Try twice. Do I see a trend line off of that? Remember, their stops now, their stops are right above that high, right? Remember, let them try once, let them try twice. I would say just buy into stop losses, but again, it's a very bear market. There'll be some trend lines coming down, you know what I mean? So you just got to be careful, trying to pick a bottom when you've got all of that rotation. I do want to be a buyer, but I don't want to be reckless, right? I want the right trades, not more trades. So bears try twice, right? Can I get that buy off the trend line? Do I get lucky and get that trap? Right below that low? As you can see, there's a lot of ways you can take this trade, right? The trap is always the best. The trend line certainly is a very close second place for me, and the stop losses, right? Those stops are an easy way to trade, right? These are called 2-try failure patterns. Now I'm telling you, it's very tempting to want to use like a RSI divergence or try to read tape. If you want my opinion, I wouldn't waste your time on indicators. Indicators are lagging. If you want to get in late to the party, then by all means, use indicators. I teach how to really time those entries properly in that quick start class in the upper right-hand corner. Now, one thing to keep in mind, too, is if we do make that run lower, and then let's say, for example, the market really runs and snaps up like that, right? That does happen, right? We get those V bottoms, right, off of those lows. If that happens, the best entry now is to wait for that trap, right? Is to, again, wait for that trap. Bears try once, bears try twice. If we don't, think about this one. It may bounce off that low. We may get those buyers trying to, right, that really rip this thing. And then just like we saw today, right, where the market goes 1, 2, 3, don't panic, don't chase, draw that channel, right, and buy that first pullback. Okay, that's exactly what you want to do. And again, this is a slower time frame, so you want to drill down to it, right? So again, the ideal is the 1, the 2, and buy it back up. That's the ideal scenario. If we don't get that and just reverses off that low, again, you can't really predict the bottom, right? But what you can do is once it goes 1, 2, 3, now just mark that new channel, drill down to your faster time frame. I'll show you all those parts of it in the quick start class, and then buy that low. Right? You want to get aggressive on that low. I don't care where I am, by the way, on that channel low. I don't mind being right in the middle of that channel. If we have this thing turn around, it's going to be get in with anything you possibly can get your hands on. If the market really V-bottoms and rips going higher, right, then you know what to do. Traps off that low, like I mentioned earlier, right? Traps off that low. So would love to be a buyer, right, coming off of that low. How do we sell down here? What's the key to being a seller? The key to being a seller is going to be seeing proof, right? Proof here. There's a couple different ways you could see proof. One would be we may take out that low. The bears, of course, come in. They hold the pullback, and we jump off the moving average. That is proof to me, right? We take out the pendulum swing. We run lower. The bears hold the pullback. I'm not going to sell that first pullback, right? That would be pretty aggressive. I'll be waiting for those bears to try a couple times so I can buy going back up into that trading range. But if they can hold that pullback and run, mark up that low, mark up that high, and it's on, baby, right? Find that new hidden channel. Now, oftentimes what will happen is you'll get something like this, where it'll sprint lower like this, right? It'll sprint lower, draw that channel, and you'll see that trap right up around the high, right? So trap into failure, into pullback combination. Again, trap, failure, pullback. Again, I'm just simply kind of marking this stuff up right now. You'll see hundreds of examples of these setups on our favorite futures markets, right, as part of that quick start class linked up in the upper right-hand corner. So I definitely want to grab that. So 1, 2, 3 breakout, short the top of that channel. Or if the market was to kind of keep grinding, like it's doing right now in summertime trading, that grind may happen. If it keeps on grinding and keeps on running here, once that happens, it's obvious, find a way in now with traps. Eventually we will be gone. Eventually this market will go far enough to the point we'll go, okay, we're obviously not going to snap back into that range. Something must have changed. So if we start to really accelerate, we're not getting, see how the market pulls back like that, right? Pulls back to the moving average. That's a healthy trend, right? If it starts to separate away from the moving average, really starting to accelerate off the moving average like that, right? If it really starts to accelerate, grinds lower like that, just, again, find your channel, grab those traps. Traps are going to be your best bet when it starts to accelerate, right? Running lower there. Where do the bears want to go? The Bears have a pretty easy job. If they can really rip this thing lower here, that 41 3/4 is a pretty obvious right leg lower here. And honestly, I still think even if the market runs lower like that, I still think we might find a chance here for the Bears trying once, Bears trying twice, right, and taking that 2-try failure going back up. But again, if we do end up 1, 2, go, mark that low, mark that high, short off that high, or if it just simply starts to accelerate, right? If it starts to accelerate, it's not pulling back to the moving average at all, that'll tell you we're up to something here, and the trap will be your go-to short, right, on the way lower. Does that make sense, right? Right? They're not accelerating right now. There's no acceleration right there. There's pullbacks to the moving average. There's no acceleration. If it starts to separate away from that moving average, start to accelerate here, it may not be an obvious 1, 2, 3 breakdown, right? It may be a very grindy move, but that acceleration, the separation away from the moving average, that's going to be enough evidence for us. It's for whatever reason, we've changed personalities, and now we're want to get into that thing as it's going lower here. So again, got some really great long side trades here for tomorrow. We'll see if the sellers can kind of get their act together here and make it work. Only time will tell, but either way, we are ready. How about some Nasdaq here right now? Nasdaq is in a similar situation, but definitely not that similar, right? What is similar here is there is a range obviously, on this chart. What's the key takeaway right now on the Nasdaq? It was a wild day today. You can definitely see that, right? It was a wild session, but we look like we end up here right now with the bears firmly in control, right, of this trend, and of course, right, into a trading range. With the sellers in control right now, sellers will be looking for shorts. Let me clean this up here for you. Sellers, really a lot like the S&P, sellers are looking for resistance levels overhead, and they're trying to be a seller at levels of resistance. Sellers are also trying to sell the breakdown, right? Just like the S&P, and just like the S&P, there's a heck of a lot of support down here, right? There's a lot of reasons to really be careful being a seller down there. You know, like I mentioned earlier, it's not easy to find good shorts here right now, right? I do understand the market is bearish in the short term, but looking at the technicals right now, it is not easy to be a bear. Now, how do we buy this? The buyers, again, in my opinion, have really the easier time tomorrow. If the market runs higher, right? If we run higher, that gives me an easy reversal now, going back up, right, to almost 15,000. If the market runs lower, again, there's a range above us, right? This whole last couple days, right, is a range. So as we go lower, I'm still looking to be a buyer off of those lows. It really won't be very difficult to buy off those lows as long as we can use that 2-try failure setup. So again, I like the buy side a lot here for tomorrow. So as the market runs higher, right? As the market runs higher, we've got this again, this kind of expanding triangle, right? Expanding triangles are really solid levels of support and resistance. They make for great entries and exits. They really do. The one thing about this one though is that if we do go higher, let me zoom in a bit closer on this. If we do go higher here, this is what you call rotation off the low. So we're coming off, see the low of that range right there? We're coming off the low of that range. So if this market runs higher here right now, it's going to be very bullish. There's going to be a rising support trend line here. It's going to be very intimidating for sellers, who do have control right now. But I'll tell you right now, when this market punches higher here, it's not going to be easy to sell this thing. So what I want to do is get up into that pendulum swing, get these buyers trying a few times, and then look for that short. Now, because of that support trend line, that's probably the biggest kind of hurdle, right, you've got here. If the market runs higher here, right, and goes higher here, trying to sell this thing, what's my concern? My concern really is a combination of momentum coming off of that low, also that rising support trend line. So momentum tells me respect the buyers. The support trend line says be careful selling into support. So what do? Let the buyers try twice and look for that trap. That's the best way to short this thing as we go lower, right? So again, imagine now we go higher, that higher high, that higher low there, the moving average comes over. Right? The buyers try once, the buyers try twice. You really want that trap. Again, let the buyers try twice because you want to respect that rotation coming off the low, right? Especially when you get a pendulum swing. Pendulum swings are great, but they like to break and turn into breakouts, right? So again, wait for those buyers to try twice, respect that rising support, right? By looking for a trap entry as we go. That would be the most reliable, consistent trade, right, for the short side as we go lower. Now, this opens the door wide open now for the buyers. If we go higher here now, right, think about what this means. If we go higher here now and run higher, we now have a pretty sturdy level of support right there, okay? This is going to be seen as the first big try for the bears. If we go lower again, this will be another try here for the bears. Okay, now this is important because these types of patterns where you get these big pullbacks and this big 1, 2, what does that look like? It looks like a 2-try failure pattern, which we talked about on the S&P just a few moments ago. So what do you do on that? What you do is you drill down on your faster time frame, you find your failure into pullback combination. Right? It is, again, you go below the moving average, right? The sellers will try to sell short off the EMA. We can buy right into their stop losses and then watch that up and back, right? And grab it again on the pullback. Okay, now these are really powerful trades because now you've got the bears trapped, right? The bears are trapped. Everybody sees that big, powerful two-try failure, and now the gig is up, and we oftentimes will really pop, right, as we go. We oftentimes will see these things. They'll go 1, 2, right? They'll give you that failure into pullback, and they'll just sprint. And then when it sprints higher, you can oftentimes look for strength entries and trap entries off of that low. So failure, pullback, and then trap, strength moves. Again, if this is all foreign to you, I understand this may be a different language. I'm using a bunch of terminology right now. Failures, pullbacks, strength moves, trap moves, reversals, two tries. Again, I cover all of that stuff in that quick start class, right? Linked up in the upper right-hand corner. So grab that and this will all make sense. But this is really going to be a very exciting opportunity here if we can get those bears again to give us another try going lower. Now, we may not even get that, right? We may not even get that. The market may move higher, and it may just punch. And this is where the fun starts, right? It may punch, strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high in price. Once you see that, you know traps are on everybody's radar. One of my favorite trades for a breakout, right? One of my favorite breakout trades is when I have rotation off the low. The pendulum swing is just cardboard, right? It just runs right through it. You get that strong push through the pendulum swing. The shallow pullback drives the buyers crazy. The higher high in price confirms the move, and we're buying that trap for that retest, right, of that high. Fantastic trading opportunity. Or maybe we see it jump up, right? Maybe it holds the pendulum swing for a little while. We pull back. The buyers say, no, we're going higher, and they jump off the moving average. Now, I'm not going to buy that jump, right? That pullback, but I will get very aggressive, drill down to a faster time frame. Again, this is a 3,000 tick chart on the Nasdaq right now. I'll drill down to a much faster time frame, right? A faster tick chart. I never recommend using time charts. I talk about that also in that quick start class. But I drill down, right? And again, this might be a trap, right? Below that low, right? A little trap off that low might be a failure, pullback combination. Again, we talk about all those details in the free quick start class, and we know what that target is, right, as we go higher here. So again, still really would love to get some long trades here on the Nasdaq. What if we go lower? And just keep in mind if we do end up sitting inside this range right now, we're going to want to sit on hands. Really be careful trading on ranges. And the same thing goes for the S&P tomorrow too. The S&P has this big move down right now. If we were to go sideways, right, into a range, you would pretty much trade it the exact same way. We'll cover those details more tomorrow, of course, in the trade room. But if we do go sideways here, get stuck inside the range here, if we go sideways and get stuck and then we go higher, nothing changes. If we sit sideways, right, and then go lower, nothing really changes. So this just try to stay away from the middle of that range here. As we go lower, what's my job now? My job now is, because in all reality, it's a pretty strong move down. It would make sense for the bears to come in and kind of close that loop, as we always say, right? Take out those lows. As we take out those lows, just like on the S&P, I would love to buy this thing with the bears trying twice, right? Two try failure, draw that trend line. Stops are sitting right above that high. The range is the magnet, right? I can buy off that trend line. I can buy into those stop losses. I can then measure the amount below the range to above the range. That creates the target on the opposite side. And do not be afraid on those rips going higher. Don't be afraid to grab that trap, right? Remember, these are great trades right there. As the market rotates off that low and slingshots off that low, right? That trap is one of my favorites. Sometimes we don't get a very clean entry down here, for whatever reason, or sometimes it V bottoms, right? And runs back up. That's where that little trap entry comes in handy. And it's a great way to add a few more winners every week to your trade account. So, and keep in mind too, this same thing could be lower too. Like I mentioned earlier, we've got a lot of support down here. So in all reality, if we take out that low down there, I still think, obviously, again, we're very bearish, but I still think there's money to be made waiting for those bears down there, get those stops hit, right? And use those 2 try failures I talk about in the quick start class, right? Use those to rip this thing, again, back up into what is probably one bigger range here, right, on this Nasdaq. All right, now how do I sell this market? It's pretty much the same thing we talked about on the S&P, right? I've got to see a move lower. I have to see these bears hold that pullback and jump, right? If they can give us a 1, 2, 3 breakdown. Now, it seems like so easy, right? But it's not, because, again, that range is up here. You would have thought these bears would have easily had that breakout, but no, right? So don't go assuming that breakout, that pullback will hold right there. In fact, go ahead and assume, because once those bears try twice, right, guys like us in our trade room, we'll be buying right into that stop loss, right, as it expires there. So, all kidding aside though, if we can get this 1, 2, 3 breakdown, we've got a pretty good idea of where they're probably hunting for is that measured move. And that's just simply coming off of, right, that leg. We're probably looking at 746 or so down there, right? So if we do get that push lower, grab that pullback, right, jump off the EMA, 1, 2, 3 breakdown, drill down to a faster time frame, and grab that first pullback. The first test is always the best test. The first pullback is always the best pullback. I don't trust this one because we haven't broken out of the range yet. But once those bears can prove they want this, now drill it down, find that bull trap, find that buyer failure into pullback combination, and get short off the high of that channel. Great, easy, reliable trade, and you want to make sure you get enough that one, because that's a very reliable setup as we go lower. Now, again, if the market was to collapse on us, right, just collapse here overnight, shallow pullback, lower low, that is the trap all day, every day. I don't care where we are. I don't care what is down here. If the market roll and really just collapses down like this, right, you're going to see when a market collapses, gives that shallow pullback and that lower low, you are going to see trappers coming in and selling that thing short, right? It's going to happen. So if we see that pattern over here, hit it, right? Don't worry about where you are. Now, like I always remind you guys, I may not take a full-size position if I'm selling right into major low, but I always want to have some skin in the game with those types of setups. Go big on your best setups. Go half size, quarter size, one contract. Get some skin in the game, though, because that is still a very reliable trade there. And then, last but not least here, right, if we kind of grind, this is a pretty lame trend right now. But if the market was to start to grind here, this may not be really strong. You know what I mean? It may not really blast. It may kind of melt lower, right, like molasses rolling downhill, right? It may kind of push and then kind of grind, right? It may look like this. That's kind of what happens, right? Sometimes they'll push, they'll grind. Again, same thing here, right? Just wait for that trap, right? And grab that trap here. And don't forget, if you can find a channel, right, off of those highs, even better. Even better. And we have a good idea of where that measured move is. I would imagine too, there's good potential this market may break down and end up going into a new range down here. If we do go into a new range, that'll be the new magnet. We'll find levels of resistance above the range, and we'll focus on failures, right, going back down into that range here. We'll obviously be looking for that tomorrow. That will happen later in the morning tomorrow here. So we'll be keeping our eyes open for that tomorrow in our trade room. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if we see this thing nosedive. We get that trap, right? The market takes out that low, right? We get the trap. That's fine, right? Again, I don't care where I am. If I get a strong enough move there, we then see bears try once, try twice, and right back up again, right? That is easy to see potential for tomorrow. Strong move down into these big range lows, and then rip it right back up, right? Patience, obviously, to buy it because we're so bearish. But you can easily see that's something we could look forward to. It's kind of happening right now, if you think about it, right? Strong move down, the bears coming in, they're selling that trap. They get that low taken out, 1, 2, right back up again. You can sell it, you can buy it. There's no reason why you can't play both sides of this market. The key is you got to understand how to read momentum, right? And how to read price action. We cover both of those in pretty good detail in that quick start class linked up in the upper right-hand corner. All right, you ready to rock and roll with gold here? Let's get some gold going. How am I doing so far? How am I doing so far, by the way? Can I get a thumbs up, please? Maybe a thumbs up in the video, maybe a subscribe to our channel. I would love to hear what you guys like or what you don't like about the video tonight. Would you drop me a question or a comment or some feedback? Right in the comment section? That would really mean a lot to me, because I know if you're still watching this video right now, you are a serious trader. You're part of one of the 1 or 2% of traders out there that are willing to actually invest more than 5 minutes into learning this stuff. So really kudos to you for being this far into the video. Hit that like button, right? And give me some feedback if you would, right? Down in the comment section. What's your favorite part? What do you wish I would do better? And then definitely grab the link and share this with a friend. It would go a long way to help support our YouTube channel. All right, what's the big takeaway right now on the gold? It's a range market, right? It's a range market. We have a bull market up, right? Bull trend up into a range. And, of course, a wild session today, but the range, of course, you can see we pretty much finished right inside of that trading range. We do have a lot of bulls in this market, but you can see right there, there's a big, what we call open loop on this chart. Now, what's an open loop? An open loop is a strong breakaway move, that separates away from the moving average, that hasn't retested yet, right? Most of the time, when you see a strong move, you're going to get a retest. Right? We haven't seen that retest yet. So we have to assume the sellers are going to be trying to get that open loop closed. They're going to try to retest that low here. We can also assume if those sellers do not do that, right, this thing could rip. And that's where I think one of the most exciting opportunities are here for the gold right here for tomorrow. So buyers are looking for the longs off support levels. Buyers are looking for the longs on breakouts, which are going to be the exciting ones, right? Sellers, well, without sounding like a broken record tonight, sellers have a difficult time, because if they run higher here right now, what does that tell you, right? If we push higher right now in the gold, what does that tell you? Failed with a failed capital failure, right? We've now failed rotation, right? Market rotates back around, we fail rotation. Okay, big bull clue. We failed the open loop, right? If that open loop can't get closed with all of that movement, right, all that bearishness, if we go higher here, are you going to want to step in front of that freight train? I'm not going to want to. I will be open-minded to a sell, but I've really got to be patient for it, because if it goes higher here, this is not the time, right, to be trying to get aggressive on the short side. Really, the money is made for the sellers if this thing can finish rotation and kind of keep running lower here. So how do we buy it? How do we sell it? Yeah, there definitely are some short trades on our radar for tomorrow, but again, the buyers, I think, do have the easier job here right now. If the market runs higher, we pretty much have very similar to what we were talking before. Strong move up, shallow pullback. Again, I think if the market runs higher here, I think it's a big bullish clue here. So I will be trying to get aggressive on those 2 try traps, right? Strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high, 2 try trap. Or maybe we see it pop, we see it hold, and we see it jump, right? What do we call that? 1, 2, 3 reversal, right? Mark up that high, mark up that low, drill down, and buy that first pullback, right? Drill down. Again, this is a 1500 tick chart. I'm going to drill down to a much faster time frame, and I'll find my bear trap entries, my failure entries, my pullback combinations, right, off of that low. We'll oftentimes see the market pull back below the moving average. Bears try to get short. There's your failure into your pullback combination. Again, you'll see hundreds of examples of these setups as part of that quick start class, right, linked up in the upper right-hand corner. You'd be foolish not to grab that quick start class. It's a great shortcut to kind of bring you up to speed on how we trade here, right? Where would the targets be for the buyers in this case? I got 26.4, right? That is a pretty easy object. It's a major, you can't really see it very well. It's a major top after a big move down. You got 26.4, and then, whoa, wide open space until 1845.7. So I've got those 2 try traps, right? 2 try breakouts, those 1, 2, 3 breakout patterns. As we go here, what else could we see here? We may also see the market as it goes higher here turn sideways again. If that happens as we go higher, what do? You find levels of support below the range, and you combine those levels of support with what? With failure setups, right? Failure patterns are always going to be your bread and butter when they have a range. Range, of course, acts like a magnet. Wouldn't be surprised if we see something like that as well for tomorrow, right? We'll know more once we get there. The hardest part on gold is staying out of trouble in the middle. Right? Stay out of trouble in the middle. Oh, sorry. If we do run higher here, how would I sell this market? How would I sell it? Well, I'd want to see us at least get up into the triangle top, right? At least get up into that trend line. And then what's my concern? Momentum. And it's not just momentum. It's the fact that you would assume that buyers are going to be greedy now. They're seeing that rotation fail. So I'm going to let the buyers try once, right? Let them try twice, draw that trend line down. Stops are just below those lows, right? I don't mind this trade at all. This would be a great trade. But again, we've got to take out some of these highs. We've got to get to the levels of resistance. We have to wait for the buyers to try a couple times. Their stops are now sitting right below that low. I can sell, of course, right off of that trend line. I can sell into stop losses. And then don't forget to mark up that low, mark up that high, and grab that first pullback, because that rotation, again, we're not going to just blindly sell that top, right? We'll drill down to a faster time frame. We'll find our traps, our failures, our pullback entries off the moving average there. So we'll short that using price action setups we talk about in our quick start class, but failure into that rotation, and you can definitely trade that rotation, right? We oftentimes too might see it really collapse going lower. Strong move down, shallow pullback, lower low, traps. Again, I don't care where that trade is, right? If this thing rolls over and runs with that trap, you definitely do want that trap entry. Take out that triangle low, take out the open loop low. So there are definitely some good short setups here. There's no doubt about that, but again, the bears really have to be careful as the market goes higher here. As we go lower, what's the plan here? Yeah, as we go lower, that will take out those lows. Now, our biggest problem here is going to be that trend line coming down. As the market rolls over and takes out, right, and basically takes out that low, what I've got to do is A, respect the bears, and B, respect that trend line. The way you're going to want to get long off this, and it could be either off that trend line or off of the open loop low, is going to be that 2-try failure. Bears try once, bears try twice, trend line, stop losses, and buy up, right? Again, 2-try failure. We've talked about this pattern quite a bit already, so I won't go over too much more of it. Or we take out that big low, which would honestly be the best place to buy. Only problem, of course, is all of that momentum for the bears, right? So bears try once, bears try twice, stops above those highs. We're buying into those stop losses, right? Either off the trend line, right, or into it from there. And then remember, a lot of times what will happen is you'll get that V bottom, right, off the low like this. You really got to be careful with that V bottom because that trend line coming up. So try to find that trap, right? Try to find that trap here. If we can't get that, again, V bottom here with that trap entry, you'll want to wait for it to go up, hold that pullback, and then jump off the moving average. Once that happens, now you're in. Well, now you're golden for the buyers now, right? Now we have the 1, 2, 3. We know where the bulls want to go. They want to go back to retest those highs, mark up that high, mark up that low, right? Drill down to your faster time frame and grab the entry off the low of that channel. How do we sell this thing as it goes lower? As it goes lower to sell it, same problem we had on the S&P, right? A lot of support down here, and it's not just that area. Look at the range that we have down. Look at that range, right? So as we go lower, again, I think the easier money here is going to be the buy side. Even if we do end up pummeling lower here, 1, 2, back up into that trading range, or do we see it take off the downside? Do these bears hold that pullback and jump, right? They couldn't do it here. Will they do it there? If they can get it, mark that low, mark that high, find that short off the high, right? Drill down to a faster time frame, grab that 1, 2, 3 breakout into hidden channel pullback, right? Or strong move lower, really strong collapse, shallow pullback, lower low, right? Trap high for the short, and maybe we get lucky, right? Coming off that, right? Off that triangle level. That would be a great short as well, right? And of course, the same thing, right? Same thing applies if we see that separation, right? We see it start to separate and run and run and run. That basically tells you something's up. Grab that, right? Grab that trap wherever it is, right? It could be there, it could be up here. But if we start to see it really collapse and start to separate and grind lower, again, you know something's up. Where do we think the bears want to go in that situation, right? The bears are trying to go to that 1790, 1791. That's the next area, right, of support. Could we see this market really rip lower, get that trap to take out that low? They take out that low, and then could we see it go bears once, bears twice, and then right back up again? I think it's definitely possible for tomorrow. So, again, our biggest problem tomorrow is going to be, do we have enough time to get all that done, right? Do we have enough time to actually get all that good stuff into it? Because we got Jerome Powell tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern time. So now you guys know, now you know my favorite ways to trade this. I've given you plenty of ammunition for tomorrow. Don't forget, though, it's not easy trading out there on your own every day. I would love to have you there trading right next to me every morning, Monday through Friday at the opening bell. If you love this video newsletter, you're going to love the analysis, the real-time setups we see in our trade room. I provide everything you need to be successful, all the video classes, all the indicators, all the daily trading sessions, and of course, all the cheat sheets and checklists to do it right along with me. I'll put the membership link in the description of the YouTube video. I'll put a big button for you right below me tonight on the trading blog. So grab that button, hit that link, get registered. We have a bunch of membership specials going on right now, so don't be afraid to call the office. I can always run through all those for you here if you have any questions on payment plan options and membership bonuses right now. I have live chat on the left, live chat on the right, and you can always drop your questions in the comments section below. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for sticking around with me the entire video here tonight. It means a lot to me that you show up every evening and watch this stuff right along with me. Now get some rest. Tomorrow's going to be a big day tomorrow morning. Hopefully, I'll see you tomorrow in our trade room. If not, we'll come back and do it tomorrow night for the next edition of our nightly newsletter. My name is Joseph. Be well out there. Be nice to each other, will ya? And be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.